Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Sunday flagship podcast. I'm, of course, your host, the Gov. Looking forward to discussing Ipswich Town Football Club and a little bit of England sprinkled on like Parmesan cheese at a Prezzo restaurant at the end. Of course, Senegal this evening, knockout football in the World Cup. So we'll invite your thoughts on that, as well as, of course, the 1-1 home draw with Fleetwood. It is Sunday. We are out of that 24-hour window. But how are you feeling? Are you feeling frustrated? Worried that it's a trend? Not worried at all. Not frustrated. It happens one of those days. If they do happen all too frequently recently, it's still one of those days. As always, live chat, live link on the halfway mark to get involved and have your say. As there's only one of us, I say one of us, as there's only two of us today, I may drop that link a little bit early to invite comments. But until so, you've got the live chat. Before we head any further, can I have a like, please, or a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube? And, of course, subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. Let me show you the league table, which I'm sure you're obviously all aware of. But in case you are not, in case you have not looked since Friday evening, here is your league table following the games that have been played across the weekend. Plymouth lead the way by a point. Town in second still. Wednesday, who drew 0-0 at was it at home or away to Derby? Either way, they played Derby and they drew 0-0. So not as bad as it could have been, but what could have been? 3 points really could have made the weekend that little bit special. Put some breathing room between us and the chasing pack. Peterborough up next, of course. They've won, but they've lost 3 of the last 5, which you just know means one thing and one thing only, or it certainly used to with Ipswich. Need a win? Come and see us at Portman Road. So hopefully that's not the case next Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. While you're hitting that like button and putting some comments in the live chat, let me read what we've already got coming in. Stephen Parry, the ever optimistic Stephen Parry, let's see what he's put today. He has said, good afternoon, everyone. Well, the match week 20 is over. Oh, I hate it. I hate match week numbers. When I'm watching the Premier League highlights and they go, this week in match week 18, I'm like, fuck off with the match weeks. Just call it what it is. Football. So I'm sounding old. I'm getting older and more moany. I really am. With a bad performance, if Pompey end up losing to Wickham, we are better off points-wise than last week. Who saw that coming? Well, when Friday night are you asking me? Because at 5 o'clock Friday night, I'd have thought we'd be better off points-wise anyway. We played Fleetwood. I am in love with the positive spin people are putting on it. I have to be honest. It does warm my heart to see other human beings trying to be positive about a 1-1 draw at home to Fleetwood. Maybe Cruncher will be just as positive. We'll wait to see. John B. feeling a little bit better after the weekend's results. Ben Hobbs after the normal next week is a huge game to get back on track. Plymouth starting to struggle, says Jem. Still ahead of us, though. Phil says Pompey 1-0 down at half time. I've not seen any of that game. I'm not... Again, Town drew 1-1 home to Fleetwood. I'm not really interested in fucking football, apart from England. But that's just completely different. Right. While you're smashing the like button, let's go ahead and bring in the Cruncher. And we must start, we're on a sad note. The Cruncher, Richard Moss.
You're talking utter fucking...
The floor is yours, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Gov. So I don't know if anyone's aware of a guy called Andy Button. Andy was on Twitter, he was on Facebook. I think we, during COVID, we got together, didn't we, Martin, and we sent him a book. He's up in Scotland, and Andy was really ill with cancer. And 2 weeks ago, after the Exeter game on the Sunday, I got a message from Andy saying, would I be able to contact the club to get a shirt and to get a flag, because he was on end-of-life care. So he said this might be the last message I have from me. So then I said, get your wife, Ruth, to contact me. So I've contacted Ruth and then spoke to his sister, Annette, last week. And then sadly on Friday, Andy passed away. He was only 62, massive Town fan. And I just got a few bits from his sister that she sent me to sort of a little tribute. Look, I never met Andy. I've dealt with him on social media, Martin, with like a lot of people, and how we started this platform through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You're talking to people and you created this platform, and that's how a lot of us become friends, through the love of Town. So I got a message from Annette this morning saying, please feel free to take what you need from this. Andy first was taken to football by her dad when Andy was a very small boy, along with his brother Chris. Andy loved Ipswich Town passionately. He had an amazing knowledge about them and could quote any fact about ITFC from their inception through to the current day. He would also happily spend hours comparing the virtues of Ipswich and Norwich. He made an incredible number of friends following ITFC that he kept touch with when he moved north of the border to Dundee. Andy's wife, Ruth, and his Ipswich-based family are very grateful for the lovely comments we have received following Andy's untimely death at 62 to cancer. Andy's funeral is still being organised, but he will be sent off with a full Tractor Boy honours. Andy definitely was Ipswich till I die and beyond. So some lovely words there from his sister, and I just want to send condolences from myself, from you, Martin, Matt, everyone watching. Look, real sad day, and 62's sort of no age week. Look, you know what happened to Martin not that long back. He was only 53, and it's just horrible. But hopefully, Andy can keep smiling, looking down on town, and hopefully by the end of the season, he'll have a promotion to celebrate and his family. So, R.I.P. Andy.
Absolutely, yes. Thoughts and prayers with his family at this time. Okay, Fleetwood home 1-1 draw. We saw a little bit of your thoughts on Friday. We heard a little bit of your thoughts on Friday. But what do you think? What are you feeling now, sat here on the Sunday Sunday lunchtime?
Yeah, when I came on Friday, Gov, after the game, I was probably as angry as I've been since the when we lost 5-3 away to Lincoln. Do you remember that just before Paul Lambert got that lovely 5-year contract? And I was really angry that day. But as I've got older, you know, as you get older, you mature, you go to football, it's the ups and downs. And look, I think you just have to take it on the chin sometimes. But Friday night, I was really angry. I was really frustrated, like a lot of people, that once again, we've somehow managed to toss another 2 points away. You know, you add it to the, like, yesterday when you messaged me, how many points did we get from Lincoln, Cheltenham and Fleetwood at home? And we've taken 2 points, and you think...
It's disgraceful. I'm sorry, that is disgraceful. That is disgraceful. 2 points out of 9. Not even a win in there, Rich. Not even a bloody win, man.
But then you look at the table, you look at the last 6 games, the form guy, Town sitting top.
We've not played anyone apart from Derby.
Yeah,
I'm not having important hours a decent
You can't
team.
say we haven't played anyone and then moan that we've lost to Lincoln and we haven't beaten Fleetwood and we haven't beaten Cheltenham, because this is what football's about. And I sat there on Friday watching that and thinking, if I'm an away manager now, Martin, coming to Portman Road, like Scott Brown was, they could easily have gone under in that first 30 minutes. It was all Town. And this is what we haven't done Friday against Cheltenham, other teams. We haven't, when we're on top, we haven't pushed home that advantage and got that second goal, because I see people saying we haven't got no plan B. We don't need a plan B. We just need to score when you're on top. A second goal there on Friday, it kills the game, but we don't do it. So if I'm a visiting manager, I'll get your team in at half time, you're 1-0. And you will know, you will just be like looking at the stats. This team are susceptible. This team throw away leads. This crowd are nervous, Martin. You could hear a pin drop in that second half when I see a stat yesterday. They had over 100 more passes, Fleetwood did. And I know, like, we've talked about this before, you know, stat padding and all that. But 100 more passes. They are the visiting team. You know? So if I was Scott Brown at half time, I'd say, listen, stay in this game for another 20, 25 minutes. Then we can make some subs. You see, you brought Joe Garner on. You can push a few more men forward. And I was disappointed with Kieran's comments after the game. Normally, Martin, I think he's really, really honest. And yeah, it could have been. He said it was a lucky goal. Well, if you don't shoot, you don't score. If that had been us, we'd have took another 10 passes trying to walk it into the net. But I didn't agree with him when he said it was an undeserved point. It wasn't. It wasn't an undeserved point. They, on their second half display, they fully deserve that draw. And we come away from the stadium. We come away from the stadium really, really frustrated again, you know. And look, I do take on board what Stephen Barry said about injuries. It is affecting us because we had no midfield.
Rich, you played Fleetwood. Do you think Fleetwood could cope with the injuries we've got? We've got depth in our squad.
We haven't got depth in certain areas in the midfield.
October and
In
say
the midfield,
we've got the best squad in League One, get a couple of injuries, and then say, "Oh, they're really killing us."
We've
got enough in that squad to win games.
We've got a whole host of injuries.
You've got enough, Rich. You've got enough to beat Fleetwood or Cheltenham or Lincoln.
I'm saying in certain areas, you look at the bench. We had 4 defenders on there. We couldn't change it in the midfield. Where first half, and you said yesterday, Cameron Humphreys, Martin, was excellent first half. Second half, he got overrun. Should have scored. I'd say that he should have scored second half. We can't have someone where Colin was sitting saying, "Oh yeah, he's only a youngster." Doesn't matter. He gets in that position. He should have finished that, and it should have been 2-0. But I thought he got overrun a little bit. It was the first time really since he's come into the team, and I thought, yeah, you're showing that you are a 19-year-old inexperienced player. But we can't just be saying it was him. I agree with Mike. Sam Morsey was no better. You know, he's our leader. He's the one we look to, and he was missing as well. There was too many people
missing,
underperformed. We looked tired. We lacked energy. And it was as poor as we've played, Martin, all season, that second half.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was.
Yeah. No, it was. You're right. No, you're right on that. I would challenge the second goal kills the game comment, because we've seen with Town this year that second goals don't kill fuck all.
Because if you look, we haven't scored many goals the last few games. It's 1 goal a game we're probably averaging, aren't we? We didn't score against Lincoln, 1 against Cheltenham, 1 Friday, 1 against Derby. You need to... We have a lot. We've said this before. We have a lot of the ball sometimes, but don't really do a lot with it. You know, we're passing around pretty football, and then we don't really work the visiting goalkeeper, do we? He doesn't really get a dirty kit. He could wear it the next week. But
yeah,
bring
a book, mate.
We shouldn't get too downhearted. I know after the game we are, but when you look on now, nearly 2 days afterwards, I think you have to say, right, 20 games in. Listen, we're 20 games in, and if everyone had said you would be sitting a point off the top of the table on the 4th of December or the 5th of December, we would all have taken it. And I know people will say, yeah, but it could have been better, and it could have been mine. But that's football. That is football. And at the minute...
But then if I said to you in July, the 3 home league game stretch between Lincoln, Cheltenham and Fleetwood, you're only going to take 2 points, you would have told me I was talking out of my backside. Yeah. And there's no chance a club that's got the budget and the resources goes 2 points at home with those 3 sides. That's what's really bugging me. And you say, I get your points, buy them all together. Long-term vision, long-term thinking, you know, it's okay, blue sky. But I'm getting more frustrated as the weekend goes on. Like, it's almost like it's sort of sinking in. And I'm like, wait.
It's gone. Can't do nothing about it. You have to look to Peterborough now. You have to
But that's the thing. All you're doing is putting pressure on yourself later on in the season. Be that Peterborough on Saturday,
I don't
Plymouth at home in January.
Because
and this squad has no mentality. Like, people are saying we should buy this. What we need to buy mentality. We get players. How do you buy that?
If you can't handle the pressure now, what are you going to be like in March and April when these games come thick and fast, and any little slip up then, because it'll be 2 out of the 3. I still think that. I know Barnsley's shown a little bit of form. They're still quite a way behind. But we have still got time, Martin, to rectify this. We don't chuck the baby out with the bathwater. It's not disastrous. And look back to the football we've seen before down there under McCarthy, under Lambert, under Hurst. We are being...
You can't compare.
No, we can't.
Look, 1-1 at home at Fleetwood was a bit humorous with Di Cornell and Ollie Hawkins walking about the pitch. I've now got a 1.5 million left back. I've now got a centre forward that scored goals for Rotherham. I've got Sam Morsey should probably be playing in the league. This ain't funny no more. Like this, we've got the resources.
But nothing is a given in football nowadays, because there ain't no easy games. I don't care what anybody says. These teams come there, we should be smashing 3 and 4-0. It ain't happening. It's not happening. If you're a little bit off, like we were on Friday, or a lot off in the second half, you're going to struggle. You're not going to get the results. But then if you flip the form around and look away, we're excellent away from home. We just need to rectify that home form. We need to get some points together between now and the end of December. I think we'll make some moves, Martin, early in January in the transfer window.
We're going to have to.
They're, like Ashton said the other week, some of them deals will probably be well down the line. We need reinforcements. We do need reinforcements in certain areas.
We do, yeah, absolutely. And of course, injuries do hurt any squad. I still think the squad's, certainly good enough to manage the injury load as it was. But you're looking at the game Friday. The only positive I can take out of that game Friday is we scored a goal and we had no real injuries. That's the only real positives you can draw out of a home game against a bottom six side. And I get what you're saying, but I said recently on the platform, I don't believe this squad. I don't trust this squad. So in the sense of, I don't think we are going to finish in the top two. I've not seen anything yet to convince me otherwise, which then makes me think, okay, so playoffs, you finish third. The last leg is a home game. You're
looking way too far ahead. We're not even halfway through the season to be saying that.
What have you seen from this squad that really,
You said Plymouth at the top of the league. Look at their form lately. They're not even in that. How many was in that top six, the last 6 game league table that I sent you? There's about 18. They're not in that. They're out of form. I know they're still top of the league. But it's a point at the minute. I watched that game yesterday, Derby, Sheffield Wednesday. Neither of them teams are any better than we are. A lot of teams in this league, they're much of a muchness, mine. It's on the day when you perform, and we ain't performing at home. We can't say that we are, because I think we've dropped 11 points at home so far this season, and that we all know. Oh, look, Kieran knows that. The squad know that. Everybody knows that can't continue, because it will come and it will bite us in the backside later on in the season when you come into March. Because you should have, if you're looking at the minute, we should probably be having a 5 or 6 point buffer. We should be top of the league comfortably. We should be, but we're not. And we have to face the reality that maybe we're not as good as we think we are as fans.
Well, I'll come to the comments in a second. I can see the screen is starting to load up. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've just.
It's a totally different conversation if we win that game 1-0 we're having this afternoon.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. But
there is an element of luck in all football. But I said Friday that the better teams, Martin, that win leagues and get promoted, they make their own luck. But look, I don't want to bemoan the officials in this league, because they are absolutely.
Leave them out of it.
No, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying that the foul on Jackson, I've seen it over and over. That's a nailed on penalty at the end of the game, and it is. He's come in the back. He's got nothing on the ball. Even Napper said it. He's a Fleetwood fan. He was sitting about 20 yards away in the way end. He said that's a stonewall penalty. But if we do our job in the first half and we get another goal with 2-0 up, we make it easy. We don't even have to have this conversation. But
that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
is abysmal. But
when I say do it yourself,
it was next level shit, and it was probably for both teams. But we know what the officials are like in this league, and I've said before, we can't bemoan them when you don't do your own job. Really, that's why I was disappointed a little bit with McKenna's comments when he said that it was undeserved, because I think sometimes you have to look at it, even though we're angry.
Do you think though?
Fleetwood deserve to draw that game.
Do you think that that's a bit of a Pep Guardiola look out there? I will defend you, but in here we will have the honest conversations. Yeah, because I don't know, it might have been my internet, but after the first question, there seemed to be a bit of a pause, and I took a lot more from that than anything he said, because I felt that was a manager collecting his thoughts. Because he knows it's not good enough. He's not stupid. He's a very wise football man. He knows that's not good enough in any level.
Have we learned from last season's games against your Oxfords, your Cheltenhams, your Cambridges? Because it still seems to be happening, doesn't it?
So I'll revert back to what I was saying when you said I was getting too far ahead of myself. Your home form isn't good at the moment. You're going to have to rectify that. The issue is you're going to have to rectify that against the supposed stronger, better teams within this division.
That doesn't worry me when we play better teams. It's these teams who come and... But you couldn't say Fleetwood sat back, really, Martin. They didn't park the bus, did they? They come and played some good football. It wasn't as though they come and they didn't want to play. Second half, they put a few challenges in. Yeah, but it's a game of football. It's not a tickling contest. And some people could say, yeah, the refs should have been a bit more firm on some of their players. And he could have been. But if you're not going to come down there as Fleetwood and stand and watch Town pass the ball around you. You're going to get in their faces. You're going to get stuck into them. You are. That's football at the end of the day. And as much as I want Town to win, I can admit when an opposition come down there and they do a good job, because they did on Friday. And you only have to look at Fleetwood's results, Martin. They're not a crap team. They've got some good results against some good teams. But on the other hand, I do agree with you. When the outlay that we've put on this squad, you know, the money that we've spent, but then again, yeah, true. They've drawn, I think, 11 games out of 20. But have we spent the money in the right areas? You know, striker-wise is where you are getting yourself out of this league. We've still got Caden Jackson. We can talk about the goal that we conceded because that was poor from him. If everybody watches it, you know.
See, I really get. I didn't like the sort. I know Pep Jackson's not everyone's favourite player, and I get that, and I get the reasons why.
More details.
We're blaming Caden Jackson for a goal that was scored from 30 yards.
He showed him inside on his left foot. Showed him inside on his left foot and let him have a shot.
He still shouldn't score from there, should he? I mean, even when you've shown him inside, he still really shouldn't score from there. But he does.
It's the deflection that kills it. But we still got players like him and Ahadme, and I said on Friday, you know, Ahadme, I don't know what we've seen in him. I don't know, honestly, what we've seen in him to look. He hasn't played a lot of football, but he made zero impact when he came on Friday night. And are you going to be, if Ladapo got an injury, are you going to be relying on Ahadme as your main central striker? That's another area that we need to address, that striker in.
Well, I don't know how it got allowed or how it was allowed, you know, to get as far to the last day of the window, and then we end up in that position. That's, you know, that's against everything Ashton normally is about, you know, being really methodical, really planned, really well thought out. Because as you say, Hadmi at the moment hasn't shown the necessary quality. He has, but you can score against Buxton, great. But I mean, Matt Phillips sent me a clip of. I mean, it's one clip, and you should take it in isolation. But you are right. Is he better than Bond from what you've seen?
No, he's not.
Well, there you go. I mean, yeah, and
there's better players out there, and we're probably going to have to spend a bit of money in January. It's going to be overinflated, Martin. You know that when January comes around. If you want a certain player, we've all watched, like we've gone over it before and here. We've all watched the Sunderland documentary where they signed Will Grigg. I don't think we'll be going 4 million. I don't think we're signing one for 4 million. But you might have to pay a little bit over the odds. And if it makes that difference, like it did back in 2000 when we signed Marcus Stewart, you know, he was that player who, I'm not saying we're going to sign anyone from a rival. And I see George hugging the chat there saying about Clark Harris. No chance of him coming there, I wouldn't have thought. But strikers are going to get the goals to get you out of this league. I still think we need another number 10, Martin, and I think we might need another centre midfielder. It depends on Kamara's injury. You know, he's another one we've signed. He's not up to speed.
No.
You know, he wasn't on the bench on Friday. We're really thin in that area. Lee Evans, I think he'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks. Luco's back on the grass, but there's certain areas that, and I don't want us to go out and get like a rookie loan, like a John Jules done fairly well for Town. If it was up to me, Martin, I think you'd probably send him back to Arsenal. If he's going to be 3 months out with a torn hamstring, you're talking probably March time before you're going to see him again. So I think he probably needs replacing. Number 10, I still think we could. I've got a name for you when we go into that later. Centre midfield, Cameron Brannigan. Mike D said on the Discord earlier, I mentioned him in the summer. There's players out there that I think Town could attract, because if you're an agent and you're looking, Town are on the up. I think we all agree on that, Martin. You know,
100%.
Yeah. If you're looking for a club and you see Town and they're interested, you're probably going to think, yeah, that's a good chance I could be playing Championship football next season, playing at Portman Road in front of 28,000. So that's good. But Ashton's got to deliver. Ashton has to deliver. That dashboard has to come out in January, and it has to get 2 or 3 key signings. It's going to help us push us over the line, Martin. That's what's needed.
You mentioned the perceived look, you know, how tired we looked for it. Do you think there's been a little bit of naivety from the team selection from McKenna? Like Buxton, you've got Mawson, Humphreys, both really, playing in that?
Not really, because they ain't really got no one else. You could chuck a load of kids in.
You've not got a 17-year-old who can play against Buxton.
Well, you got Chihuahua and you got Zanzibar or whatever. You know, you could do, but I liked it. We've moaned on here before about cup teams and we haven't taken it seriously, and now we're moaning when we play a good side. So we can't have it both ways. I was happy with the side they played there. They had a week in between.
Well, 4 days.
I suppose it wasn't a week because they played on the Friday, but it was just poor on Friday all round second half. But it's gone now. We have to look into Peterborough. That's a game that we really need to put in a performance, Martin, at home. And everyone's a little bit edgy at the minute. You've seen the socials and people saying this, people saying that.
I'm one of those people. I
need to have a good performance on Saturday. We need to have a decent performance and we need to have a good, positive result. You know, Peterborough have got a stinking record away from home. They're under pressure. Grant McCann's under pressure. You know, I think they've lost 9 games already. We've only lost 2. At the end of the day, I know we've probably drawn more games than we probably wanted to, but we've only lost 2 games. We need to understand that. And if you're carrying this form on through the season, we're probably only going to lose 4 or 5 games, Martin. We're still averaging over 2 points. It's not all doom and gloom. It ain't all doom and gloom. It can't be. It's frustrating. I get it. It's frustrating.
It's concerning, is what I'd probably say. Concerned.
Yeah.
I'm concerned because it wasn't long ago we were calling ourselves flat track bullies. Oh, we can beat on teams like Fleetwood, Lincoln, Cheltenham's, blah, 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 but we can't beat the top team. Well, now you're going to have to, because you've got the point you would have taken from Plymouth at home, and you actually need to make that a win now because you only took 1 from the game you expected to win against Cheltenham, Lincoln, or Fleetwood. You are putting pressure on yourself, and
That's right. What Zach says there. It's right. What Zach says there. This is the best league start we've had since the 50s.
Since the League 1.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
League 1.
It still doesn't give you, just because we're Ipswich Town, and we're getting 25,000 every week, it don't give us no divine right to get out of this league. We've still got to deliver on the pitch.
You can't convince me. You can give me every stat in the world, but you can't convince me you've seen enough that when it's pressure time, when it's crunch time, this club has it in bucket loads that they're going to be able to stand up, be counted, and not capitulate.
Have Plymouth got it? No, they're on the same.
I'm not fans of Wednesday or Plymouth, Rich. I'm a fan of Ipswich Town. I don't watch
them. We're in the mix with them. We're in the mix with them. We can't be too negative, Martin. We can't be too negative.
I think that's a conversation on have you seen enough moxie, if you want to call it that, to really come through. Do you trust this side implicably is what I'm asking, because I don't know if I do. I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think we'll get out end of the season. I think we'll go get to where we want to be. I think we'll be in the top 2. I do. I didn't think that at the start of the season. I had us about, I think, 3rd or 4th. But I still think a lot of it depends on January. I get that, but I've got the trust that Ashton, McKenna, they will know who they want, Martin. They'll get them targets in earlier. We won't be doing a bloody show on the bloody 30th of January, scraping the barrel for someone like fucking Ahadme. I'm sure we won't. If we are, we'd probably be a little bit worried then, I would have thought. If you're still searching for that striker or still searching for that number 10, we should know now who we want and go and get him. But if we can't get him, like George Hurst, chased him all through the summer. Well, we think we did. Was Ahadme plan B?
Possibly. Probably.
Or was he? I don't know if he was.
Plan Z. He was Plan Z, Rich.
I don't know where he came into that equation. I don't know. But listen, we with the budget we've got, when May comes, we need to be out of this league. We can't be having these conversations where, we should have beat these teams. We didn't. We got in the playoffs. We all know what happens in the playoffs, Martin. You could be the best team in the playoffs, like Mike says about MK Dons. Probably one of the best sides in League One last season. In the playoffs, out. Lost 2 of their best players. Look where they are now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
I'm not saying that'll be Town. I'm not saying that'll be Town if we didn't go up. I'm not saying we lose everybody and we're going to be struggling. But we don't want to keep going through it. We don't want to be sitting here next season again playing teams like Fleetwood.
Tell me about it, Rich. 65, Fleetwood, big respect to him, but you're right. And that's where it comes from me. I don't want to be sitting here again. I think Adrak said it earlier. I wouldn't quite call it a panic. I'd call it a worry on whether I can trust my football club to come through in the crunch moment. But it is 4 years of League One. I said earlier in the WhatsApp group, get me out of this division.
Another 6 games, and we get another 12 points. You're still going to be averaging that 2 points a game.
Yeah, but it's if, isn't it? If
Easy.
you've got some tough games coming up in those next 12, you know.
Every game's a tough game. Just because it's Fleetwood doesn't make it any easier than Peterborough or Sheffield Wednesday. It doesn't. Still respect the opponent, and you still have to do the job. Look, there's some big games coming up in January and February down there. You know, Plymouth are coming, Martin, Sheffield Wednesday are coming. These are some big games.
Well, Fleetwood's a big game. You just said there's no every club's the same.
I'm saying when the teams who are in and around where we are, you know, there's going to be, and we have to handle that pressure. We have to handle that pressure.
Which is exactly what I'm saying, Rich.
But another thing I think that we need is the crowd more. The crowd on Friday, I know it was cold, but we need everyone to get behind them. We can't sit there on our hands in the second half when things are going against us. It's easy singing, Martin, when you're 3-0 up. Yeah, brilliant. True. Sometimes your team needs you when you're struggling on the pitch. You get that energy from the crowd. We don't seem to do that.
No, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing how we'd. I take your point. No easy game in League One, except I'm a fan of Ipswich Town Football Club. I'm not a fan of football of League One, so I don't have to show the respect.
You're going to say they're not a fan of football.
Nearly. It's coming out at some point today, I'm sure of it. But I haven't got to show the respect. You know, my team have got to show on a Saturday against your position because I'm a fan. Yeah. I write down our wins, losses at the start of the year, and I think we beat everybody because I'm Ipswich Town football fan. I don't care how Fleetwood have done against 8 other teams or whatever. What I care about is against the weighted opposition. So if it's a horse race, the handicappers, you know, the top teams that I consider our rivals. I want to see how we're doing. This Saturday is a big one for me because I've not seen us play well at home against Peterborough in a long time. Well, we kind of have to now for me. Play well. Yeah. Not play well, but certainly get 3 points.
Yeah, but I think we'd all be happy at come about 1:45 if we win the game. I get that. It is all about winning.
I think you've got to, haven't you, after those 3 last 3 home games?
Let's have a good performance as well at home. Is that being too greedy? Play well and win.
I don't care how we play as long as we win. Like we could have had 10 passes Friday, right? Fleetwood could have come and played like Man City possessed, and if we'd won 1-0, I wouldn't have given. I don't fucking care. I don't care. Don't care. I want to win. I want to win, and I want to get out of the division. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you kick, bite, claw, scream your way out. Just get me out. Please.
Ben Hobbs says they've not scored an open play goal at home for absolutely ages. I think Derby was probably the last goal we scored from open play when Burns scored, and that was a bad back pass, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but
listen, I miss him.
Look at the bright side. Look at the positives. We bemoaned last season how crap we were at set pieces and corners. We're top now. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
We're a threat when we get a corner now. We don't just sit there and think, how many is that? 55. Since we last scored, we expect now something to happen. But you did say, didn't you? Who did you want taking corners?
Lee Davis.
There you go.
I also said that Manning would get MK Dons relegated.
You did say that last season.
No. I said that's a move I think that would end in relegation.
Also, like I said on the WhatsApp group, you also did say Raheem Harper would be player of the year.
We're all out of mistake.
I did say Joe Pigott to get 23 goals. Is he actually playing today for?
And you both said that Haladki was a great signing.
That's big opinions. You don't sit here and sit on the fence, do you?
No, certainly not. Absolutely not. The way I've just spoken about for the last 33 minutes, you'd think we'd fucking been relegated already. I'm going to bring in a man that stood in front of his Christmas tree. Actually, I bought my Christmas tree this morning. You know, that's quite
Neil Moles. Neil Moles, what a fantastic tree. I mean, how much stuff is on that tree? How long did that take to put up?
Well, it wouldn't take him, would it? I mean, it was his wife.
I was going to say he didn't do it, did he?
I reckon he just wakes up and it's all done, mate. Like literally,
there's a lot of thought going into that.
Absolutely, yeah, huge. But so that spurred me to go get my Christmas tree this morning, and I used to always go with my dad. It used to be a big thing, but obviously since we've lost him, so it was a bit of an emotional morning for me, and maybe it's come out in the last 33 minutes. I don't know. I've just manifested the emotion and brought it out, but he's disappeared. Oh, I can't bring him in then. I'll go ahead and... Oh, no, he's there. There he is. Here he is. He's smiling. Oh, look at that tree.
I just...
tinsel. Now, people were saying, Mike, I heard someone the other day saying tinsel, we shouldn't be having so much tinsel nowadays. I love tinsel.
I'm a traditionalist. I do the tree in the house. It was how my mum did it, so it was always going to be how my mum's done it. And it's, always put the lights on first, starting with one end at the top and working my way all the way round to the bottom.
Does help.
And then I do the tinsel two-tone. Like I said, this one is sort of silver and gold, and I let the kids do the baubles how they want, really.
Love that Christmas tree formation, don't we? With Caden Jackson.
I'm a bit of
Caden Jackson as the fairy.
No, come on.
Yeah.
No, I like the Christmas tree joke. That was
He's
no.
like one of them broken bulbs you need to replace.
No. Right. Thoughts on the game, please. No more of that.
Oh, it's becoming a trend. That's what's worrying me more than anything. Our home form's becoming a trend.
I agree.
Look, we can all blame the players, but in all fairness, I think Kieran McKenna's got to take some responsibility for this. He's brilliant, done what he's done so far. We're second by luck, I think, more than anything. Our home form in the league has been
We're not second by luck. Are we second by luck, you think? We're lucky to be second?
Yeah, I do, yeah, especially with our home form, yeah.
How can you be lucky? How can you be second? What? What?
I think we are with our home form, yeah.
What about away form?
Half time Friday, I put it on Twitter. I said, at this rate, we are going to concede and we are not going to win this game. We're going to concede at some point. And in the second half, it was like, yeah, we ain't going to win this. I could see it all the way through. It was such an obvious thing. And they scored. And when they scored, I weren't surprised. I weren't even angry. I was like, fuck. Yeah. And then after the game, when I finished, I was angry. And I just feel that, managers are coming to Portman Road and we've been kind of found out. We play one way. There's no flexibility with the squad. This one up front situation, right? It works brilliantly away from home because we can flood the midfield and we can pass the ball around. At home, we should be more attacking. We should be more attacking and stop trying to walk the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I agree with that, but you can't get second by luck. That's like saying I'm the UK bodybuilder champion by luck.
No,
you've got to put work in.
It's effort. Said that based on our home form, not on obviously our away form.
No,
we're second
the league tables.
I was second by right because of what we've done away from home.
Where would we be, Mike? Right, I've got something for you, Mike. When you go away, go and find where we would be on the home form table.
Interesting to see.
I
can do that now if you like.
There you go.
Yeah, go on, do it. Yeah, do it. I
think we're top on the away form, but I think we dropped 11 points already, Mike, at home.
That's too many. To get promotion, you need to win. You need to win our home games and get as many points as away from home. It just seems like we're winning. If we get promoted, winning all our home games, getting as many points at home, great. But where are we?
We are fifth in the home league table behind Bolton, Wednesday, Peterborough, and Plymouth, and we are first on the away table, just ahead of Wednesday by 3 points, and Plymouth are in fourth. And that's the real difference there, isn't it? The fact that Plymouth lead the home table with Wednesday in third. That's the real sort of difference of the matter, isn't it, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm not a doom and gloom. I'll get rid of Kenner and all that rubbish. I just think he's got to be a little bit more. He's got to be a bit more flexible with the way the
Congratulations on the UK bodybuilding title, Gov.
Yeah. See, it's keto. Keto for 6 days. I'm already a bodybuilder champion. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jim. There you go. That's my moment in the sun. That don't take it away from me. No, I'm not.
Thunder and lightning.
No,
there's thunder. There's lightning. Yeah.
There's Des and there's Troy. Anyway, back to the football.
Academy, yeah.
Well, yours might be.
I have to agree with
more potent.
Look, go back to football. I think realistically, I'm struggling to understand why we brought Kamara and Adami. Don't get me. I don't get that at all.
Kamara will be a good signing. Kamara will be a good sign. Look, I know he's not fit at the minute. He's not fit. He's had a groin operation.
He never came here fit, did he?
Pardon?
He was bought injured.
They knew, but they knew he was injured and he had a groin operation. I think, if I might be pissing in the wind here, I think Martin he'll have another groin operation. I think they said he didn't feel comfortable after the game. I think
Really?
it was Portsmouth. It was Portsmouth, wasn't it, in the Papa John's?
That's
that's a point. That's pointless, isn't it? Why did we sign him? I mean, that was a risk on every level. But signing injured players is a massive risk, and it's a waste of money, in my opinion.
Good player. He's a good player. We'll see the best of him. You'll see the best of him next season.
Maybe. But then you've
maybe League One if we don't sort our home form out.
Yeah, but what we've done though, Mike, is we've signed so many players that the odds are one of them was eventually going to be, sadly have a couple of injuries, and that's Kamara. You've signed a lot of players in the last 2 years that haven't actually had many, if any, injuries at all, which is rare for this football club. Let's be honest, we were signing players for fun under the previous regimes that would play 10 minutes and you'd never see them again. But it is what it is. Just before I let you go and bring Phil in, to keep it moving, how would you change the home form? What would be your keys to getting the home form back on track?
I'd play two up front. I'd change the formation a bit, play two up front. I really would.
Who would you play
I don't see the point. I don't see the point of playing this one way all the time, because it's becoming predictable. It's becoming again like we were last season with some of the home results. It's becoming very predictable. It's predictable football. We're trying to walk the ball into the back of the net. For Christ's sake, we're not Arsenal.
Who's your front two, Mike? Who's your front two?
Look, I mean, your front two,
Jackson.
you've got to have Ladapo, ain't you? And
Jackson.
No, I'd probably look right now. What we got to work with, really. This is the problem. This is the problem, isn't it? We don't have anybody up front who can probably do that role. Maybe Chaplin. Chaplin is again at the weekend. There was opportunities for him to do what he did against Buxall, but he didn't do it. He worked hard. I give Chaplin credit, but again, he went back to his old ways again. Burns for me, that was his worst game I've seen him play for a long time. We need to start putting these teams to bed. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at the end of the season stuck in third place in the playoff place. And hope and pray we get through to Wembley, and then hope and pray that we win it and go get promoted.
All right.
Because if people say if we don't get promoted, we ain't going to lose players. Hell, we will lose players. We will lose a lot of players, and it's going to cost the club. It will cost the club silly money as well. Because we've already spent good money this season. So when people say, "Oh, we shouldn't go out and spend £4 million on a striker," hell, we should go out and spend £4 million on a striker in the position where we are in the league right now.
Well, I don't.
It's what cost us under the Joe Royle era when we were sitting second with Wigan. If we'd have gone out and bought what we needed and had some investment from at that time from the owner, then we would have got promoted.
Well, that's the thing, and that's the difference here. So I've got no doubts in my mind that it won't be a case of what you need, you've got it. Because I think they want to get out of this division 110%, and they want to be, well and truly away of League One, the Championship even, etc. And the resources are there. It's just whether you can find that player. It's not going to be as easy as people think it's going to be. Mike, I appreciate you coming, by the way. Look after yourself. I'm going to bring Phil on just a moment. Enjoy that tree. It's a beautiful tree. It's a really beautiful tree. Well done. Hope my tree looks half as nice. But it's not going to be as easy as people think it is, Rich, because it's January. It may even be a case of like a house chain. We might want to buy player A, but for player A to come here, the club that's selling him needs to go and get player B, that in turn player C. It's not going to be easy in January. People don't understand that.
We have got like you said, we have got the finances available if we have to pay a little bit. I've got a couple of names for you.
Go on.
Those I'd go for. I'd go for Aaron Collins from Bristol Rovers. If you look at him, Martin, he's second, I think, he's got 10 goals, he's got 7 assists. Good player. And I would also, I've got a bit of an outside. Look, I don't know if you'll be able to get him. The Loch Ness Drogba. I would get Ross Stewart at Sunderland. He's out of contract. He's out of contract in June. Now, I'm not saying you'll be able to get him because he's playing Championship. He's been injured. He's just coming back. I was reading Tony Mowbray's, but yesterday he wasn't involved against Millwall. I think he's going to play in the week. But he got nearly 30 goals last season in this league.
Yeah.
It might look. It might be a hard sell to get someone like him, but it might take someone like that, Martin, because you're looking around we want to get better than we've got at the minute, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Jerry Yates, would he be mentioned again at Blackpool? He was mentioned. He was mentioned a lot in the summer, wasn't he? You know, so look, it's up to Ashton, it's up to McKenna. They're probably going to have a long list. Would they look abroad? Is there anyone abroad we could go for? I don't know. You can look through like the top scorers in every league, but these players who are coming in, they have to be better than what we've got, and they will be better than what we've got, and they have to make the difference, Martin. If you're bringing these players in January, you bring them in for a reason. You're bringing them in to get you over the line, because we do need reinforcement. I might sign another midfielder. It depends. Like I said about Kamara, you got Lee Evans, hopefully, will be coming back soon. Don Ball's out. If you haven't got Kamara, I'm not saying he's going to have an operation. I've just got a gut feeling that they said he wasn't feeling right after the Portsmouth game. I've just got a gut feeling that he might have to have another operation on that groin. But then you're going to have Evans, Morsey and Cam Humphreys. I think you need another one in there. We need them options. I know we've got a Luco coming back. You know, the other night, I'm not saying, look, I see you smirking. He will give you, he would have come on that pitch the other night and he would have been able to keep the ball, which we couldn't do second half. Last 15, 20, he would be able to keep the ball, Sonia Luco. He doesn't score enough goals and he doesn't get enough assists for me. But you know, if you bring him on, that he can keep the ball, he can pass the ball in tight areas, he'll keep it, he'll get a free kick. So, yeah. Look, we just need to. I think we just all need to keep calm.
Keep calm and carry on.
Get to the end of December. We're going to be in and around the top two. We're still going to be in and around the top two come the end of December. You know, and like, I can't remember it said in the chat there earlier. Sheffield Wednesday got a lot of injuries. Their bench yesterday was thin. Plymouth are getting injuries. These teams are going to go in the market. That Wednesday might be in the market for the same sort of players that we're after, Martin, you know, but we've just got to be able to sell that vision to whoever we're trying to get in, come to town, you know. You're going to be easy though when you football next season, you know. But I think we'll have. I'll be very surprised if we didn't have at least one in within the first week.
Yeah, well, possibly so. Possibly. But we've got enough to finish inside the top three. That is not even even a worry. Like, we are a top three side. I believe it. And I don't think that's going to change. I just don't know if we've got the right moxie to get ourselves over the right side of the line.
We're going to have a few shows between now and May. You know, we're going to be a bit twitchy. If we're twitchy now, we're going to come twitchy when February comes along.
But I'm only twitchy because of, you know, and it's arrogance. But I'm a Town fan. I'm not, and I don't care about the opposition. I'm here to talk about Ipswich Town and what I believe.
If we don't get out of the league this season, it's a failure. I don't care what anybody says. And at the end of the day, we're getting these a new pitch. We're going to have we've got a new screen, advertising boards. It doesn't really matter. It's where we are come May. You know, we have to be out this division and we have to be in the championship. Then we can spend some proper money when we get in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And had the 3-game stretch been Plymouth, Peterborough, Wickham, and you'd said 2 points, I don't know how I would have reacted to it. I may have reacted differently to how I'm feeling today, and that's absolute arrogance on my part, and I know it is. And you, as a fan, I think you can be arrogant because you're not the one playing the game. I haven't got to go toe to toe with an opposition player and feel superior, etc. But it's the fact we've played Fleetwood, Lincoln, and Cheltenham, who aren't. I don't think, is there not one of them in the top half of the league table?
I think Lincoln lost to Shrewsbury yesterday 2-0 away, didn't they?
You know, and you got 2 points. That's disappointing. That's frustrating, disappointing. You know, and all those different things.
There was a name mention, wasn't there? There was a name mention on Twitter last night from Owen Griffiths.
Yes. Before we get to Conor Wickham, who is the name, I want to bring Phil in. Phil, how are you feeling? You've heard us. What are your thoughts this afternoon?
How long have I got? I want to start with the pent-up anger in me from Friday night.
Go for it.
Okay. I haven't always been a season ticket holder with Ipswich Town in the 30-odd years I've been supporting them. But what I will say is I simply cannot remember the number of times I was up out of my seat on Friday night shouting and swearing at that referee.
I knew he was going to say that.
Right. For fuck's sake, right? Okay. I want to talk about everything that's circling around my cranium, inside of my cranium right now, right? I trust McKenna and I trust Ashton, okay, But I looked at McKenna's pre-match comments before the game, and he knew that this was going to be a tough game. Now, when Scott Brown took over at Fleetwood, I thought they're going to be a top half League One team. And I still think that Fleetwood are in a false position in the league. That wasn't an easy game on Friday night. And even in the first half, I felt a bit nervy. That I felt that Fleetwood had just something about them that would cause us, problems at the back. And they did. There was 2 or 3 chances they had in the first half. I do trust McKenna, but if you look at the home form, and just brushing on what Mike said, is that the formation that we play generally is just really one up top, really. Now, historically, Town have always played 2 up top. So when we go away, our away form is the best in the league because, like you mentioned earlier, Rich, the way that we play, we get bodies in midfield. Okay, we do dominate possession.
We're suited to playing on the road, Phil.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. But at home, for me, right, I cannot escape the fact that we've had 3 or 4 fucking shocking referee performances at home. We've had more than our fair share of injuries. Okay, I get it. Plymouth, Sheffield, and other teams, they're picking up injuries too. But we've had more than our fair share of injury problems, and we've had more than our fair share of bad luck. Now, Friday night, that injury time equaliser was a fluke. It was a pure fluke. Okay. Now, listening to what McKenna said after the game, he was really downbeat and dejected. But when he said the referee had a really tough night, he bloody well meant it. And you and I both know what that feels like. Okay. Now, for me, Friday night, we dropped 2 points, not because, we didn't play so well in the second half. We need to give Fleetwood a bit of credit because, under the leadership of Scott Brown, I think the Scott Brown teams, they play a certain way. We play, or I'm saying under McKenna, we're playing a brand of Manchester United football, and under Fleetwood, they're playing a bit of a brand of a Celtic type brand of football. And I thought Friday night, they played well enough to get a point, but it is 2 points dropped. And I can't help but feel, when you look at that league table, when you look at our home form, right, we've only won 5 of the 10 home games we played. Now, I'm thinking of the Charlton game. I'm thinking, the referee didn't have a bad game against, in the Charlton game, but the Barnsley game especially, we dropped points in those games, not because of the way, we played badly, but the referee decisions that went against us. Now, for me, that Jackson foul in the second half, Stonewall penalty, and the referee didn't give it. He booked Wes Burns early in the first half for winning the ball. He booked him. I couldn't believe it. But when I was looking at the referee, when Wes went in and he won the ball, I always look at the referee. He's the first person I look at. He hesitated for a second. He just put his whistle up to it. He just hesitated for a second. Hold on, just let me finish. And then he brandished it. Now, for me, from my own experience, that decision badly affected his decision making and concentration the rest of the game. I can't work out, for me, why he sent that Fleetwood player off at the very end. Well, did he send him off for a hand gesture? I didn't see it in the highlights. I'm saying from where I was. Did he put 2 fingers up to the crowd? Did he, wave something to the home bench? I don't know, but what did he send them off for?
Well,
Can you answer that?
Wasn't it? It was a second bookable offence. So
no, it was a straight red, wasn't it? It was a straight red.
Yeah, it was straight red.
Straight red. What the fuck did he do?
Hand gesture. I think it was a hand gesture.
Banker sign to the fans, didn't he?
Got to respect that.
I didn't see that.
Bill, how did Rooney, the number 26, stay on the pitch for them?
No idea.
But what? He got booked early, and he was constantly in that referee's ear.
What the thing is, though, guys, you mentioned Barnsley, and obviously this game. Was there another team you mentioned in your list of games that you feel we've been let down by an official, Phil, or was it just Barnsley you mentioned?
No. I'm saying we've had 3 or 4. Come on,
but in the Barnsley game, for example, you've taken the lead not once, but twice.
Yeah,
and still
should have been a third time towards the end in the last 10 minutes.
You've got to take care of your own business, and we're not doing that. And we can sit here in any division, I promise you, any division, and say, oh, the referee decision cost us this week, because there's not a good referee in the whole world that gets it spot on every time.
I'm not asking for perfection. None of us are perfect. But I'm telling you, that referee knew better on bloody Friday night. And that's why I was going to come on the show on Friday night, but my Wi-Fi signal outside the ground was crap. I couldn't get a strong enough connection. But I was so fucking furious after the game on Friday. Okay. And, I just think that, look, going back to what Richard said earlier in the programme, right, the number of points that we've dropped at home is too many. Okay, we've dropped too many points from winning positions, when we've gone ahead in the home games, and that needs to stop. We need to cut down on that. And I also think that, if we just turn a couple of those home draws into victories, we'd be sitting top, 3 or 4 points on top, and we would all be happy. We wouldn't be having this type of conversation. We wouldn't be this frustrated and sort of arguing, amongst ourselves. But I just think that in January, I think we will get the players, we need, to do the job. And I think in the second half of the season, we will improve. But I think last season, Wigan, they won automatic promotion last season. I think there was one of 6 or 7 games where they drew 4 or 5 games. So every team goes through a bit of a rough patch. I just hope it's not this month, because we've got 2 or 3 games coming up where they're very winnable games. I mean, so when I looked at the fixture list, I wasn't too bothered about the Fleetwood game. I was a bit more bothered about the Oxford game, to be honest. But I'm not worried about the teams that we play away this month. Wickham have just won 2-0 against Portsmouth, by the way. I think things will be okay at the end of the season. I do trust McKenna. I think he did say after the game that he's not going to change his philosophy, the way that he plays. I don't think that we will see a change in, the way we play at home. I think he'll just stick with the current formation that he's been playing since July. And I just think that we'll improve. Second, I'm not worried, but boy, was I angry after the game on Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Phil, appreciate you coming on. Always measured points. Look after yourself, and we'll speak very soon. We've got Stephen Parry coming up. A little bit of positivity, a little bit of Stephen Parry blue sky thinking, and then we'll shift to England. We are live tonight as well, aren't we, Rich? At the post game, England. Full time.
What time could that be? It could be after extra time. It could be after penalties. Hopefully not.
Neil texted me this morning and said, "How are we feeling?" And I said, "It's England. It's knockout football. It's going to go to penalties."
It's on ITV as well.
Oh, Sam Matterface, Lee Dixon, dream team.
Should be Clive Tilsley and Ali McCoist, but it won't be.
No, wait, it'll be Sam Matterface and Lee Dixon, which is absolutely fine. But have they got Souness and Keane in the studio together? Well, that's what the people want to see.
They could have them pair in there. Can they argue in a way?
Have they put them back together? But have they put them back together since that?
I don't know. Or maybe they just haven't fallen out like they did after the Argentina Saudi Arabia game, because it was great, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Office.
Paul P, the referee and assistant in front of the cobblestone were both useless. We need to look after our own business, but the standard officials this season is the worst I've seen. Was no referee, no football matches. Concentrate on our own job. I do agree with that. You can sit here in every game and pick out an incident or 3, but you've got to look after your own business. Like a Barnsley game, you've taken the lead not once but twice, and still not handled your own business.
But then you've got going back to that game. It was 2-1. We've just gone 2-1 up, and we've scored a perfectly good goal to go 3-1 up, and the rest disallowed it. Look, it is what it is, Martin. We can bemoan the officials. Everyone bemoans the officials up and down the land, don't they? So, just is what it is.
Even in the World Cup, the best of the best, you're still talking about referee decisions, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't get any better the higher you go, in my opinion.
Just have the cameras out,
which makes it even worse.
Well, wait till we're there. Wait till we're there, and we were going to be on here probably arguing about he was offside, but his toenail was offside. I mean,
did that ball cross the line?
Well, it depends what angle you're looking at. I still see another one this morning that it's. I still think it's out. I honestly do.
It is out. What I would say is, when it's as tight as that, when you can't absolutely categorically say
the lineman's got no chance. The linesman is not seeing that live. It's just you've got one look at it.
So you have to go.
When I see it live, I thought that's well out, but it is a different angle they look at. I see an angle from I think it's talk sport from above, and it does look in there. But listen, the Germans went home. Are we really that bothered? No. Frank Lampard scored a goal. It was 3 yards over the line against Germany, so in 2010. So have a little bit of that. Which
would have made it 2-2 in a totally different game, by the way, because we were chasing that game for the whole second half. So the result it was, I don't think was true reflective. I did like, before I bring Parry in to close up the business, I did like the Frank Lampard gif or meme where
when he's in the VAR studio smiling away. Classic. There's quite a lot of Luis Suarez gifts as well. Luis has got on Friday night. He was showing them after the. Did you see the end of that game, the Uruguay game?
I haven't watched the game of football in the World Cup since the last England game.
There was one there right at the end when Cavani, and they've got VAR. I don't think it was a penalty, but they haven't even looked at it. He gave the VAR screen a good left-hander, didn't he, when he walked off the pitch?
Is he still playing?
Cavani, yeah, I think that's obviously his last World Cup. He give that the VAR screen a better left-hander than Del Boy done last night to Tyson.
Yeah. I see Lukaku beat the crap out of the plastic dugout.
Well, maybe if he was a bit more accurate with his feet, when he had the ball, because he did have the chances, didn't he, to put Belgium through. But listen, it's been a World Cup. I've enjoyed what I've seen. There's obviously controversy before it, but hopefully tonight, when we're on here about 9:30, we'll be happy because England are through to the quarterfinals against the French.
Who I think we will beat. We'll come to who we expect our lineup to be for England in just a moment. Mr. Parry, welcome in. Busy typing away. Look, how are you?
Putting my 2 penneth worth in.
Well, bring the 2 pennies worth to the microphone. Speak to the people at home. Give us some blue sky thinking.
Look, at the end of the day, we all know what the game was. I think we started off quite well. We did well. We had a few shots. That could have easily been 2-0 at half-time, but it wasn't. It was 1-0, and it's always a dangerous scoreline. We've seen this in the World Cup. 1-0 is never a comfy scoreline. And second half, I just think they wrestled the game away from us. We weren't doing what we've been doing all season. We weren't building up from the back. There was more long balls going forward to strikers that just weren't there. And we changed the way we played to suit them, and they started growing in confidence. And I think that's where it all was. I think a lot of it isn't necessarily physically tired. I think a lot of it is mentally tired. We, like Richard says, we got Humphreys, a young lad who's played extremely well, but going game in, game out at 19, that's the reason why people, this is not a disparagement. It's hard work, and first half he played well. And also, I think Edwards for me, he looks like a bench option, an impact. Because first half he was excellent, second half he was anonymous.
Yeah.
And another thing that I noticed, when the changes came on, you saw the difference between when we played like Accrington, we needed goals, and when we played other teams, we needed goals. The quality wasn't there. Normally, we bring on like TJJ or Chaplin or Harness or whatever, and we either stay the same or we go up. I think the changes brought us down, and I think that really affected us. And I think that's because we've not got the depth that we have. That first 11, if that was winning us the game, we make the changes, and people are not quite sure. Like when what was it, 93rd minute. Jackson gets the ball, he runs down. For some reason, he's got the ball, he just loses it. He could have kicked that into touch and given them a throw in their half, but he just lost the ball. A minute later, they scored. I just don't. There's certain things that I think people were making the wrong choices. As a fan, I know I'm not there, so I don't know what. But to me, the obvious choice was: look, if I'm not keeping the ball, either just kick it out or play it off the man and let us get a throw in deep in their half, or give them a throw in deep in their half, rather than just give them the ball back. Because all he did was pass it to Enciala. Enciala played it down to the other guy. He cut inside and scored. And that was the sort of things that we were doing in the second half. Little back flicks here when there's nobody there to get the ball. It just seemed disjointed second half. And we didn't have any luck, I give you. That goal was, at the end of the day, they deserved it, but that goal was extremely lucky. It probably took like 1 or 2 deflections, then it hit the bloody post. If it doesn't do any of those things, the keeper either saves it or it goes over. So there's lots of things that played it, but they deserve that. And I don't think if we'd have got the penalty, which I do think it was a penalty, I don't think that would have been justified, because I think they did, for their second half performance, they deserved at least a point.
Yeah.
But I do think when we talk about luck, and I do say that luck is a big part of football, maybe we didn't get the luck on the day, but if you look at the results that followed, you know, because I saw Twitter Friday night, everyone was going, oh, we're third now. Well, we weren't. And we're even now not third. We're actually better off than we were last week, if you look at the points tally. So maybe that's where our luck came from this week. We didn't get it in the game, but we got it in the other games that were played that we had no involvement in. You know, let's not beat around the bush. Fleetwood, everyone says, oh, we should beat Fleetwood. They've beaten Plymouth. You know, I think they beat Pompey, or they drew with Pompey. You know, they played some big hitters and they've got results. You know, to turn around and say that was a bad performance because we made it look bad. Second half, we were bad. That's probably the worst half of football. And we've not said that a lot. Like I said, we played Lincoln, we battered Lincoln, and we got more points at Fleetwood. That's how it goes. That's League One. We should be knowing this by now. We should realise in this league, on the day, anyone can beat anyone. And we've just got to focus, take it game at a time. And I think when the players come back, you know, hopefully next week we'll have some good news. If we get a half-decent result next week, it'll be another week closer to more players coming back. It'll be another week closer to the transfer window. We just need, this is the month we need to stay calm, stay with them, get as many points as we can, and then come January, we'll build them. You know, I hear people talking about El Miz coming back. I'm sorry, I think that's a retrograde move. You know, at the end of the day, we loaned him for a reason. We didn't think he was good enough for League One. I know we're stretched in central midfield, but I still think we can do better. You know, if we're bringing back players because we're desperate, yeah, who in January, in the summer, we didn't think was good enough for this team now, that looks like a backward step. So I'd rather not go down that route, because besides which, he's playing well at Leyton Orient. So leave him there, let him play well, and we can find somebody else. You know, I think Luke will be back by then. Even Evans might be available for a bench spot by then. So I don't think that's going to be needed. But I've heard mutins about it, and I'm not convinced with that. You know, I've heard people say, bring Piggott back. I'm not convinced with that neither. I think we should be looking more likely, the likes of Matt Penny, El Miz, shift them on, move them on. If they're not going to play, if we don't need them, we might as well get rid of them. You know, let's just cut some of the chaff and give us a bit more room to move players in. Because there's players out there that we do not know about yet. Nobody knew about Davis apart from what? Us being interested and a Bielsa meme. That's all we knew about him. Now look at him. We don't want him out the side. And there's plenty of other players like that in Premier League academies who's probably had one or two games. You know, there was one mentioned on Discord the other day, Morgan Rogers. He's not gone out on loan this season. Why? Do they want him? Do they not want him? He's 20. He's coming to his end of his contract next year. He might be someone you go into Man City and say, we'll give you $1 million for him. And Man City, fine, have him. You know, these are options. They're not well-known of players. There's a lot of not well-known of players who have got Premier League ability and got pedigree and will do well in League One and can grow with us, just like Davis was. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the route we go down.
Perfect points. Well, you know, good points. Well put across there, Stephen. As always, what more can you say? Mike D says clear-cut chance for me to be creating more at home. Their keeper had nothing to do second half, which is what obviously you were saying earlier, Rich. Stephen, last question before I let you go and we turn to England. It's a really important question. It's quite a tricky question to ask you, I guess. But Die Hard, is it a Christmas film or not?
I'm not going to give that a mark. I don't think it is now. It might be set in Christmas, but I'm sorry. But if it's not got snow, Santa, or tinsel, it's not a Christmas film. You know, what was it? Ben Hur used to be on at Christmas. That's not a bloody Christmas film, but it always used to be on at Christmas. And we don't know whether it's set at Christmas because we weren't there. You know, so for me, no, it's got to have like snow, tinsel, and shit for to be a Christmas film. But I do want to say one thing. I can see 3 players coming in, and don't rule out. And I'll say this again. I've seen rumours that we were very close to bringing in Keane, and I'll say it again. We may no Richardson go. We may go back and revisit that. You know, because
I don't like their music, to be fair.
I've heard we were very close, and he decided at the last minute no, and it was Richardson that kept him there. But this is just rumour. If there's anything to that, now Richardson's gone, it wouldn't surprise me if we went back to it and had a look at that. So I think we'll get about 3. I think we'll. Yeah, I know the massive hands. It's my phone. It's got some fisheye bloody camera on for some reason. I think we're going for 3. I think it'll be a centre midfielder, depending on camera, an attacking midfielder and a striker, and then I think we'll be done.
All right, no worries, Steve. Appreciate it, buddy.
Look after yourselves, guys.
It was so good there, Rich. He was even responding to comments that haven't yet come on the screen.
I was thinking about that. I didn't even see it in the comment. I was looking down.
Same here. I was thinking, what's he banging on about? But perfect. Right, England. Will Henderson start tonight?
I don't know if he will. I think he's going to make some changes, isn't he, Southgate? Saka's going to play. Apparently, he's going to be in.
I like Saka. Will Foden play again?
Yeah, I think Foden plays. I don't think Rashford plays tonight. I think he'll take Rashford out.
Do you reckon Grealish might get a couple of minutes?
Grealish on the bench, super sub. I think back 4. I think he'll probably keep that the same. When he Walker, would you play Walker or Trippier, Martin?
Well, Gary Lineker didn't seem to think you'd play Walker, would he? Because he was saying on BBC that you should, Walker's the only fullback in the world that could probably handle Kylian Mbappe. So you want to be wrapping him up in cotton wool and
possibly.
Which slightly overlooking the Senegal team, you might say, but he is right. Walker is a good fullback that could probably handle Kylian Mbappe. So do you play Trippier tonight?
Trippier gives you a bit more going forward, I think, as well with his free kicks.
Yeah.
But I just think I agree with Mike D there. Win this game. Don't look ahead to the French game. You don't want to end up with egg in your face where we were saving him for that game, and then you get knocked out. Play your best 11 tonight.
There's not a huge drop off though, is it, between the two?
Not really, no. Obviously, look, Kyle Walker's won how many Premier Leagues at City, but get the job done. You might need your bench tonight, Martin. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to extra time tonight. Senegal's not a bad team. Don't think we should really be underestimating them, but it's all about getting the job done. Look, if England want to do anything, we should be putting these teams to bed. But it's England. You know what it's like in a major tournament. It won't be easy. Let's hope Kane gets a goal tonight, because if England are going to do anything in this World Cup, Martin, Kane just needs to start firing. I know I think he's top of the assists, isn't he? He's in there. Needs to score goals. We need Harry Kane firing. If we're going to win the World Cup, he's not going to go through the tournament. He's not going to do like a Giroud did for France, is he?
No, he's such a modern striker, isn't he? He's the epitome of a modern striker, Harry Kane, where it's all about the creation of the chances for the attacking players that sit just behind him on the tactics board. Whereas 20 years ago, if he hadn't scored already in the tournament, it'd have been an absolute disaster. It'd have been a meltdown city. Our striker's not scoring. It's such a different game.
It's like tonight. If I was playing Foden, I'd play him centrally. I'd play him as a 10. I don't want him like the first half there the other day. He was stuck out on that right-hand side, wasn't he? I like to get him in the centre of the pitch where he can do the damage. But look, we'll just have to wait and see what the team... I don't know how does the team leak so easily nowadays?
Oh, don't ask me about anything. I don't
know.
Ask the Mogul.
Saka's playing tonight. Up it come on my phone. I'm thinking, well, hang on. He didn't even name the team. We've been able to name the team to an hour before the kickoff. I think they said, I was listening coming home from work. Trent Alexander-Arnold, they were interviewing him, and they said, when's the team named? And he said they normally name it sort of the day before. So I don't know. But we shouldn't be giving the opposition a bloody leg up on who we're playing, really. Keep it till bloody an hour before the game. Look, they'll have a pretty good idea on Senegal who we're going to play. I agree with Lewis O'Connor there. Foden behind Kane. That's where I'll be playing him. I don't think he will. I think he'll play Saka on the right, and he'll probably play Foden on the left. Does Henderson play? I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Mount comes back in tonight, Mike.
Oh, fuck, no.
I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I would not be surprised.
I've never seen him have a good game for England. Now, granted, I don't watch many England games, but every time I do, he might well not bother.
It's all about the squad nowadays, isn't it? It's not just about that starting 11. But you've got players there. Will Maddison get some minutes?
He should, from what I read in the papers. I've not seen much football.
But look, he's been injured. He's fit now. He's another option you've got off the bench.
Yeah, he won't start there, will he? I mean,
no, I wouldn't see him starting, but you could use him second half.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. Same as Grealish, Lewis 80 says 87 watching, only 22 likes. Yes, come on, hit the like button or thumbs up button on YouTube. It costs you absolutely nothing. And if you do want to be a part of the Discord that people keep talking about when they come on, and Richard's mentioned it a couple of times, become a member on YouTube, hit the join button, or head to Ko-Fi and sign yourself up. $4.99, you get access to the Discord instantly. If you can't find the link to actively get on there instantly, then do drop me an email. But yeah, 24/7, 365, talk about football all the day long. Okay, 3 questions before we go. Who do you expect to be player of the match tonight?
Phil Foden.
Love it. Outside of Phil Foden, one player you expect us to be talking about on the full-time show?
Harry Kane.
Oh, I like that.
Or Jude Bellingham. Or Bellingham.
You know what? I myself admitted. I've declared myself that I don't watch much football. I've admitted that. I've said that myself many times. But Bellingham is a player that's growing on me every time I watch England play. The first 20 minutes against Iran, I have to say I wasn't entirely convinced. His first touch was a little bit off, and I said in the WhatsApp, what his first touch isn't that good. But then he turned it on, and since then he's just played better and better when he's featured on the pitch. He's
19. He's 19. He's played over 150 games already.
Really good.
He's captain of Dortmund. He's playing in the Champions League. He'll probably be over here, I'd have thought, next season. Where does he go? Probably Man City, I'd have thought. Liverpool need a revamp in midfield. Could they afford him? Probably not.
No, probably not.
Man United need a revamp in midfield. Could they afford him? Probably not. It's probably going to be City, I'd have thought he goes to. But listen, we're very lucky when you've got him and he's 19 and he's just sort of starting out in his career. They were having a chat on the radio about who would be the next captain after Kane. And they said, well, Bellingham's captain his club, but it'd probably be Rice, because Rice, there's another one. Declan Rice, he won't be at West Ham next summer. He stayed longer than I thought that he would, to be honest there. But it's a short career for these players, Martin, and they all want to play at the top level. Rice has done really, really well at West Ham. He's come through their academy, but he wants to go and win trophies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I suppose Bellingham being captain, that would be really long-term thinking, wouldn't it? Because you've probably got about certainly 3, but maybe even 4 World Cups left of Bellingham, providing injury, of course. And if you made him captain, you're setting a culture that's going to be a good generation, really, of what's to come for young players coming through. And that's a really long-term captain appointment, really, isn't it? If you appoint him captain. But the score, please, Rich.
I think England will win 2-1 after extra time. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we comfortably beat them in the 90 minutes. But listen, they're missing Mane. He's their main man. They obviously won the African nations, didn't they? They're not a poor side, but I'd be very surprised, Martin, if we're sitting on the show at 9:30 and England are out. Don't clip that up. Don't clip that up when England lose.
There we go. We're back. Full-time show. The moment full-time whistle goes, regardless if it's 90 extra time or penalty shootout, we'll be live link, live chat to get involved as well. But thank you for watching this afternoon, whenever we are talking town. I'm the Gov. That is the Cruncher, Mr. Richard Moss. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you all when England have beaten Senegal.